The Federal Reserve is expected to make history with a rate hike today. That was a look at your top national headlines. Now we are going to switch gears and go to your local Gray TV top stories. How could this conflict affect the average American? How could it ripple down to them? What did law enforcement say about the fact that they've done so many searches and they really don't have any answers at this point? Do you know how many people and how many homes were evacuated? We are waiting on President Biden to go ahead and take the podium to give us a little bit more information about the student debt forgiveness program plan that he's announcing. Have you seen this happen before, or would you consider this striking or unusual for a judge to rule the way he did? It is primary day in 2 states today, Wyoming and Alaska. The moon rocket tried to take off Monday, but those plans were scrubbed after some issues. So take 2 is tomorrow. Around 400 students were in that school. So where did they ride out the storm? And have you had a chance to speak with the superintendent or any teachers who were actually experiencing the storm from inside that school? We are following the life and legacy of Betty White, who multiple media reports have confirmed that she has died at the age of 99. It was on the ballot in Kansas for the people of Kansas to decide on, and the results are in. They have their helicopter flying above this crime scene. Have you found out any more information since that initial release came through? We hear about some fireworks accidents that tend to happen, so we're hoping to try to prevent that by sharing some great safety tips with you. At least 5 students were taken to the hospital today after ingesting candy that officials believe to be edibles. A way to make grocery shopping easy ended up making grocery shoplifting easy too. We are jumping across the country, giving you live looks at winter weather in several of our markets. It kind of show us where this weather is happening and what stations we have in the way of it. It is a chance for me to celebrate my family and my Hispanic heritage. We continue to cover the aftermath of some deadly tornadoes that swept through several regions last week and this week. One community is our station in Springfield, Massachusetts. Let me actually show you their website briefly so you can see. And they recently did a story about college students and other officials reacting to the possible decision on student loan forgiveness. Let's go ahead and play a piece of this video, and then we have a few other communities we can jump to while we're waiting on the president's announcement. Let's go ahead and take a listen in. I know it's early, we're still in July, but let's talk a little bit about Halloween. It is World Coconut Day, and since we're talking about coconuts, let me bring up some video here so you can enjoy it with me. What is the mom's agenda, and what are you advocating for? We are going to bring on our digital desk anchor from Huntsville, Alabama, WAFF's Charles Montgomery. What is a travel doomsday and how can you avoid them? Nicotine regulation has been kind of a moving target, especially when new devices come on the market and are introduced. Do you see any signs that the FDA might miss the mark at all? That sounds like a horrifying nightmare, and you said some passengers cried. I probably would have cried too. You know, there's a pawn shop involved, an owner, and 3 others, the ATF, the Secret Service. What is this story all about? The biggest question I'm sure people are concerned about, who was on board and are they hurt? Do we know that yet? I know a lot of people are worried about this issue, especially as I mentioned, as you get older. What are signs people can look out for to see if they themselves might have a problem with skin cancer? January is the month we all want to change ourselves and become better versions of ourselves. Do you encourage your clients to kind of get control over their closets? How could you rein in our expectations of becoming social media influencers overnight? Mardi Gras is something you come to expect every year. And when you didn't have it last year, how has that changed this year? And one of those stations who's been really rocking the digital coverage is WBTV, and they're based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And one of the digital desk anchors, Maddie Gardner, is here to join us. Let's pop her up. Thank you so much for joining us, Maddie. Can you talk me through the difference this year compared to October and when the last full race was? you kind of started out with a mystery, and then you had that drone shot when you revealed why he actually died. And I literally felt my heart squeeze. Talk to me about your choice, in your writing choice to do that. What is the firework industry doing to make sure they can pass along these safety messages? David, you covered Diane Nash, who received one of these rare honors, and she's a civil rights leader who actually worked with Martin Luther King. Tell me more about her. I wanted to ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay, have you ever heard of goats having full-time jobs? It's always good to kind of break through some of that hard news with some good, some interesting.
Good, interesting, funny, anything to lighten the mood a little bit.
Right, sometimes bizarre.
Yeah.
So I actually think this next story covers all of the above. All right, I have to give Nick some major kudos. You may have thought that maybe he was reading from a script just now. He wasn't. That all came from his brain. Clay, hopefully you can go look through some meteorites and find yourself a super rare space diamond. Just, it breaks my heart to think that how sad he must have been when no one showed up for his birthday. All right, Nick, I've got some fun and exciting social media news to share with you. And Nick, you're gonna get to be able to experiment with this edit feature, so you'll have to report back and let us know for the rest of the world who doesn't have the check mark whether it's worth it or not. I mean, we've come a long, long way from those grainy video and pictures from the Apollo missions.
Yes.
So I cannot wait to see what the Artemis missions can share with us.
Yeah, today we ran into some issues.
We didn't.
Well, lucky, yeah.
I don't want to be blamed for that, but NASA did.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a problem if it was a drink that, and maybe some do, a drink that people get every single day, because 50 cents times 5
That's
times
yeah.
the entirety of fall.
Let's be real, times 7.
We had to go down that rabbit hole with Clay as he externally processed what that would be like. Well, I, for one, am a vegetarian, so there's no way I'm getting anywhere near.
Yeah.
Hot dog flavored
That
popsicle.
might be the closest thing to a hot dog that you can actually eat, though.
No,
it's just ice, it looks like.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Just food should be food and drink should be drink. That's my story, and I'm sticking
Victoria,
with it.
don't get innovation without a little risk.
I guess Clay's in the market for the Snoop Loops.
Got my mind on the loops and the loops on my mind.